Hey, is the camera rolling right now? It is? Oh, crap! Hello there, ladies and germs of the internet, and welcome to the Last Channel Surfer's YouTube page. I'm your internet historian, Theodore Y, but you can call me Theo. And today I am happy to be introducing, or rather reintroducing, one of the series I've been working on for quite a while, Theo's Obscura TV, in which we will be going through the lost annals of television history to see what went on and what went wrong. So yeah, I'm restarting the Obscura TV YouTube show, and I wanted to make this little introduction video to kind of explain why I've been gone for so long, what kind of episodes we can expect, and some of the rules for new shows that I'll be making. So yeah. So the basic gist of this series is I'm going to be looking at its namesake, some obscure, relatively unknown, or less popular TV shows. Go through and review them, have some critical analysis, and see what they kind of bring to the table, and how they stack up to modern entertainment. The original premise of the show really came out of a need for me to discuss all of the television and weird movies that I've been seeing on daytime TV since I was like 5 that nobody had ever heard of. And I figured this was a great way to create a platform where I could kind of rant about all that stuff and introduce people to some new, cool television and other stuff. The reality is, probably after all this time, I figured if I've got to live with all this useless knowledge I've accumulated, you all might as well suffer with me. The reason I'm restarting it now is because back then, when I originally started the show, I didn't really know what I was doing. I didn't have a lot of resources, I didn't have a lot of time, and I just had so many things I was juggling in my life at the time that I couldn't really make the show have the level of quality that I really wanted it to have. So it didn't turn out very well, and I kind of shelved it for a while. But I always kept it in the back of my mind, and I said to myself, Theo, if you got enough time and not so much in your life that you gotta handle, then maybe we can look back on the show. Then, 2020 happened. And 2 years later, I now have nothing but time and no life, so I figured, why not restart the show? The new series will be a lot like the old one. I'll be looking over a lot of old TV shows in the comedic review sort of manner I have. I actually have a list of like 64 to 100 episodes of different shows I can look through here that I can guarantee most of you haven't seen. And I've actually created in the new series a few rules that will help me narrow down and find better options for review. And I'm actually going to share a few of the rules with you today. And for those of you who are interested, well, this is my show, and you can't stop me. Anyway, let's go over Theo's 5 radical rules for Obscura TV. Number 1. Any show that you review should be obscure, unknown, or otherwise less popular than common series. So I'm going to be looking at shows that most people haven't seen or aren't quite as popular. Things to exclude would be like shows like Firefly, for example. That only had about 9 shows and very few people knew about it, but the fan base was so vocal that it not only got a movie, but became utterly saturated into pop culture. That being said, I may still look into shows that are within pop culture's radar, but have become less popular over time. For instance, Wonder Woman. That's a huge pop icon. She's been everywhere, and probably everybody here has heard of the 1970 show, but when was the last time any of you actually watched it? Rule number 2. Any show that is reviewed must have a length of at least one season and a minimum of 13 to 21 episodes. If I'm going to review a show, I want it to have enough that I can actually talk about. If it ends in 6 episodes or has a complete cliffhanger, then I'm not interested in looking at it. If a show does have more than one season, but it goes over 3 seasons, I'll probably break that up into multiple episodes reviewing each of the seasons of the show, because at that point there's so much content to talk about that they really do deserve their own episodes, and a comparison from season to season might be worth it. Rule number 3. I will not review game shows or reality TV, and I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory. I would like to include within my series a certain level of analysis along with the review, and there's just not a lot to actually dig into with game shows and reality TV. Rule number 4, no anime. Well, this rule, interestingly enough, is here for the exact opposite reason as number 3. I said no game shows because there's not enough content in there, and with anime, there's just too much to look into. It's a nightmare. I mean, I could make an entire different channel just dedicated to looking at all the weird and obscure anime. Not to mention, it's also an accessibility thing. I already have a lot of trouble finding clips for some of these shows, and some of this weird anime stuff is just impossible to find. And for this series, I want to still focus on TV outside of the United States as well as within, but I don't want to get caught up in that whole rat nest. There's plenty of other obscure television from other shows that's just as weird and unknown to dive into, and I don't think I need to quite dig into that iceberg. So yeah, moving on. The 5th and final rule of Obscura TV is always try to have fun. And, well, I feel like a show might be perfect on paper, but if I can't find anything interesting to analyze, I can't figure out how to make it entertaining, or I generally just don't like it for whatever reason, then I'll probably shelve it or put it on the rules. That's not to say that a show I put to the side won't ever be reviewed, but at the end of the day, this show is supposed to be entertaining for both you and me. And if it doesn't do that, then, well, it's not going to appear. And that's all the time we really have for today. If you guys have any questions or concerns, you can leave them in the comments below. Have any shows you think I should review, then add them there too. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe, and check back here for updates and new content whenever you can. I'm Theo Y, your last channel surfer, and I hope to see you again real soon. How long am I gonna have to wave like a jackass? This is bull.